In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Shingle Shear and explaining how it works, when to use it, and if it's worth buying. Before we start using the product, I want to explain kind of roughly what it is. This is called a Shingle Shear. It's a shear, kind of like a paper cutter, used for shingles. I know there's a few of these out there on the market. This is the one that we've had for a while. We roughly spent probably around $300 to $500. What it has here, it has this little hook, so if you're using this on a roof, you can put a nail here and make sure it doesn't slide down. I guess it has this which comes out to let the shingles rest on it. We've probably never used this once because you can see it's like brand new metal here and all old and scuffed up metal here. And the simple idea is you just put a shingle in, slice it instead of using a knife. So I'm gonna be using this. This is, I think, the first time I've actually used this tool, so I'm curious myself on how it's gonna work. Being that this is a used tool, keep in mind the blade is probably duller than when it was brand new, and I doubt we've ever sharpened it, so keep that in mind during this whole video. It's not a bad cut. So this is an OC duration shingle. It was actually pretty interesting once it came up to the shear nail strip. So it lightly got stuck right here. And I don't know if it's the shear nail strip that's keeping it from cutting or it's a double layer. I have a feeling it's the second layer. But what I did, I just gave it another push and it seems to be cutting through it fine. Yeah, as long as you give it a nice solid push down. One thing I can tell you is I definitely can cut it that straight by hand. I don't think any other roofer can either. So the straightness of the cut, I'll give this a 9 out of 10. There's a slight jagged edge, but actually I give it 10 out of 10. The ease of it is also relatively easy. It's compared to kind of our next alternative. So you can either use a shingle shear or you can use your hand. Speed of this, I don't know if it's worth it. If you're in a scenario like this where you're on the ground and you're testing side by side, this is definitely faster and easier. But if you're on the roof and you have to carry this around, probably not the way to go. What we use this most for is for heavy duty presidential shingles or designer shingles that are difficult to cut by hand. Let me show you what I mean. So I think this is a Certainteed landmark presidential shingle. One thing about this is cutting this straight is a little bit difficult by hand. So let's see how it works out on the machine. Yeah, you look at that. Having a lot more difficulty than just a regular shingle already. Okay, so instead of actually forcing it down, you can kind of put your weight out and have it act as a shear. That makes sense. I'm going to give it another cut. I don't know if this is a triple laminate or not, but regardless, presidential shingles are pretty thick itself. Let me cut this by hand and see how it goes. So you can see the difference kind of between a regular shingle and a presidential shingle or similarly designer shingle. It takes 6-7 passes by the hand. If you're on a roof that has a designer shingle, I would recommend using this shear. It's a good tool. We've had this for a while. It's not a tool that easily breaks, nor does it require constant maintenance. We've had this for years and we've never sharpened the blade. Do we use it on every job? We don't. I think if you have the place to work on a roof and you have a designer shingle, it's definitely worth it. If you have a 412 roof, it's easily walkable and you have the room for it, probably a good tool. Definitely not a necessity. I think it's just a unique tool. So for the DIYer, I don't recommend it. For the professional, definitely get it. It's a small investment and you'll be using it from time to time. If you guys are curious on other ways on how to cut a shingle faster, you can watch my video. You'll find a link in the description below on how to use the air cutter and the comparison on that versus a regular hand cutter.